Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More, and this is my tiny laundromat, car wash, apartment, and shop when I first bought it a little over a year ago. And I'm going to go over the expenses, the revenue, the challenges of owning this property for a year, talk about how much money I've lost on this property, and yes, we have definitely lost money, and if there's any hope to ever make money on it, because it is in a very small town. And even having said all of that, I'm still glad I bought it because it brought me a lot of other opportunities and taught me a lot without making a massive, huge investment, which a lot of times are required for a laundromat. So we'll go over the expenses, income, all kinds of different things in this video. And this is what it looked like when I first bought it. It had lots of old top washers, washing machines, which means they load from the top. The floor was a mess. The walls were a mess. There were handwritten signs everywhere. It had 6 somewhat decent dryers and 2 80-year-old dryers. Had a swamp cooler, a heater that sort of worked, but that would kind of burn your skin if you got too close to it up there above the vending machine. It did have a pop machine. It did have a vending machine. The pop machine did not work. The vending machine sort of worked, but I ended up moving it, and we'll talk about that as well. So I paid $300,000 for this in Kersey, Colorado. Did I pay too much? Yes, I did. But like I said, it's been a learning experience. Real estate is very expensive in Colorado. Finding laundromats is very difficult in Colorado. So it's still not the worst investment I've ever made. Not saying that's makes this look great. But having the land, having the location, having it set up as a laundromat and car wash, and having the property grandfathered in with those uses could be very, very valuable, especially in our area in Colorado where a water tap costs $60,000, $80,000, maybe even more. I had tried to start a laundromat from scratch in Alt, Colorado, and what they wanted me to do was bring 2 shares of water before I started any of the equipment purchases, build out, electrical, power, all of that. And I really had no idea what I was doing back then. So it's probably a good thing that the water cost so much and I didn't get further into that, because laundromats are expensive. They are crazy expensive. And this is probably one of the cheapest ones to run because it's so small. It has older machines. But if you're buying new machines, if you've got a lot of machines, it is very expensive. It's surprising to me how expensive it is. So we'll go over the numbers. We'll go over the monthly numbers. We'll go over how it's done lately because it has been doing better. We'll go over the potential of what it could do in the future and what my plans are. And like I said, the expenses and all of that. So this is what it looked like when I first bought it, the laundromat side. Then we had an apartment next door, which was occupied. I think it was occupied by kind of a relative of the person who owned this laundromat, and they helped out, helped customers who needed, assistance. And then one of the craziest things about this place was it had a door that locked at 9 p.m. and opened at 7 a.m. If you were inside when it locked, you couldn't get out. Someone had to come let you out. So one of the first things we did was put a door in where you could actually get out. Now we still had it locked, but if you're inside, you can get out. You just can't get back inside from the outside once it is locked. So we made some big changes here. We'll show you those. And we made some big changes in the apartment as well, which was pretty rough, pretty ugly. We did rent the apartment. That helps. There's a shop area in back that we're still trying to rent. We haven't had much luck on that. We need to think about that and probably come up with some new ideas on that. And we still have some more ideas to bring in more revenue to the laundromat and possibly the car wash. The car wash was broken for quite a while. We got that up and running, got it fixed. So that's helping some, but still not bringing in a whole ton of money. So if you do see other people, other YouTubers talking about, stay away from small laundromats, don't invest in them, this might back up those ideas. But this also led me to some other opportunities, taught me a lot. And, who knows what will happen here in the future. Plus, as kind of a bonus, people absolutely love laundromats on social media and YouTube. So, and I do too. I love watching the coins, the quarters, all that stuff. So this small one doesn't do nearly as good as my other big laundromat as far as, engagement and videos and online revenue, but it still gets some. So there is that aspect of it, and what other opportunities this little business led me to as well. Now, like I said, there's also a car wash. It sort of worked when I had it, sort of didn't work. It would trip breakers all the time. It was constantly breaking. So we actually shut down the car wash for a few months. I was deciding whether to even open it back up. We decided to open it back up, rebuilt some pumps, fixed some things. It works way better now. We just have one bay open, and we're seeing how that works. I've never seen anybody in line there, so I don't know if we need the second bay open or not. But that has improved things. And then I've had ideas for adding bigger machines too. Don't know if that's worth it, but we'll talk about that and how that could bring in more revenue. So I want to show this first. This is my sales chart I show every week. Every week we do a video going over how much money we collected, the sales for that week, the car wash, the laundromat, the vending machine, all that stuff. So I moved the vending machine to my other laundromat. It does much better there. We tried to get a pop machine here. It did awful. We moved it to my other laundromat as well. There were literally some weeks where it made $2 the whole week, and it's $1 for one pop. So, like I said, the car wash wasn't working for a while. We got it up and running again. The vacuum, it has a vacuum. We didn't check it for a long time. So car wash wasn't working. It's pretty minimal, but it has a little bit there. So here's our actual sales chart, which shows how much money it brings every week. But this does not say anything about expenses, profit, taxes, insurance, all of that. This is just weekly expenses, and it doesn't, show exactly what's going on. So a lot of people have asked me for this video to give them the full picture, and that's what we're doing here, whether I want to see it or not, because it's not very good. Before we show those charts, this is what the laundromat looks like now. We did make huge improvements. We painted, we remodeled, we added some machines, just made it way better inside. And people have said that too. People really like the changes we make. I think more people are going to it. Still doesn't mean it's making any money, but at least we can have some moral victories with this business. Now, we also rented the apartment after remodeling it. Things were going well until the tenants brought like 5 cars in for a 1-bedroom. But I think things are sorted out now. They aren't parking in the car wash anymore, but that's another story. So here's what the laundromat looks like now. Actually, this is before we put in the dryers. Sorry, it's even better now. This is what it looked like for quite a while. And then we also added more dryers from another laundromat that I sort of bought. So I opened another larger laundromat, and then I found a laundromat that was liquidating all of its machines. I went and bought all those machines. So some of the machines from that laundromat made their way into this laundromat. Most of them went into my other larger laundromat that does much more business. I did buy some of those machines from some just awful laundromat repair guys. That's something I learned about this business too. Almost everything they touched was broken immediately. They didn't fix things. They didn't do the things they said they did. They sold me machines that were broken. They still think I owe them a bunch of money, but I don't agree with them. So we'll see where that goes. Maybe I'll do a video on that sometime, or maybe I'll do it on my members only channel. We'll see. I do a few videos there that I don't always want public. But it's better now. It's not perfect, but it's better. But we did flooring, paint, rearranged things, got rid of the vending machines, opened it up, added a better sink, did a lot of different things, and that all costs money too. So you would hope to get a recoup of some of that. We may get a recoup of that money in about 10 to 20 years. We'll see about that. Now here's what the laundromat looks like now. By the way, we tried to get a better soap machine. It still doesn't work. But we still did make other improvements. We added a second change machine because our first one kept breaking and having issues. Those were car wash parts we had when we fixed the car wash. And all this adds up, and then you just kind of hope you bring enough revenue in to pay for it all. But with a really small business like this, it makes it tough. But you can see we have 2 change machines now. There's our new dryers that we have now that we didn't have before. And those have all helped. And I saved an absolute massive amount of money too. You know, I got the second change machine from the other laundromat I bought that was just sitting there, tested out, it worked. I got these dryers from all the inventory I bought at the defunct laundromat. Oh yeah, we had a flood here where the pipes broke. Almost forgot about that. We ended up, you know, putting in some new HVAC in here as well. It wasn't just, you know, things for the car wash. We made the bathroom look much better. We've done a lot here, and sales have gotten better, but definitely not good enough to justify doing all of that. And the things we could do too are add bigger machines, which I'd like to do. I'd like to get some 40, 50-pound machines in here, which would appeal to all types of people, not just people without washers and dryers. The problem is we have a crawl space on a concrete floor. Really, really hard to put those machines in. We also may or may not have the amount of electricity needed to do that, because you're supposed to have 3-phase electricity for most of those machines. We sort of don't really have that, but there might be some workarounds. There's a lot to think about. So to add big machines, we might be pouring concrete. We might be spending a lot on electricity. There's a lot. So with a small laundromat, there's so many different things to look out for. Not just the machines there, but your ability to upgrade machines, your ability to have the right power, the right water, the right floor, the right space. There's a ton that goes into it. And maybe at the end, I'll talk about, in a perfect world, what we would do here and how we would make this a more profitable business. Whether I want to do all that or not sure I want to, but it is a possibility, and maybe somebody else wants to do it. Who knows? But for right now, you've seen what everything looks like. Here's what our expense is and what the money looks like behind all of it. Okay, this is the least fun part of owning this particular business, is looking at the expenses, then looking at the income that comes in. All right, so here is what the expenses have been for the first year. And then I just divided that by 12 to get the monthly expenses. So of course the monthly expenses are going to be some months higher, some months lower. In the winter, the heat's going to be more, the gas is going to be more. In the summer, the electric's going to be more. There's all kinds of different things to look at. But for electric, we averaged $191 a month. For water and sewer, we averaged $297 a month. For gas, we averaged $279 a month. For insurance, which is a doozy because laundromats are very expensive to insure, we learned that, $550 a month. Supplies, miscellaneous, cleaning supplies, etc., $50 a month. These are property taxes for the building are extremely low, $63 a month. So our monthly expenses have averaged $1,432. That's just the basic expenses to keep it running, right? This does not include maintenance on machines. This does not include any financing to buy the property. Does not include any remodeling, any staff either. So realize this is the bare basics. Right now we don't have staff. It's me who basically goes there, collects quarters, checks on things, cleans up. Obviously my time is worth something. So you would want to add this in there somewhere too. But you see a lot of small businesses who are run like this that have the owner doing a lot of work, not paying themselves in showing you, you know, income. So when you buy a business, laundromat, any business, it's important to look through the expenses and see exactly what's going on, who's doing what, who's working. If this business changes hands, if you're going to need to hire 2 more people to, you know, do the work of the owner who's working 80 hours a week, all of that stuff. So this is just the bare bones basics of this of the business. However, this also includes the apartment, the shop. This is the whole property. So it's not broken down just for the laundromat. This is the entire property. So now if we move down a little bit to our income, it doesn't really get a lot better. Again, this is yearly income divided by 12 to give us a monthly income. Rent. We rent the apartment for $1,000 a month. Now, it was tricky how we do utilities for that. A lot of times we'll split utilities or they're separately metered in our other properties. I have quite a few rentals, commercial properties, residential properties. If a tenant is sharing a laundromat, obviously I think the vast majority of utilities are going to be consumed by the laundromat. So we just said, utilities are included in rent. We're not going to break them out. So it's just a flat $1,000 a month they pay. It hasn't been rented for the whole year, so that's why the yearly says $8,000. So I guess I didn't divide that by 12 on this one, but on all the rest I did. So we have that rent coming in. The laundromat averaged out to making $1,000 a month, and that's from the washers, dryers, inside the business. The car wash averaged out to $119 a month, but remember, it was down for a significant period of time, so that could, we'll show you another figure too. This shows the potential for what could happen. Vacuum is a huge money maker at $26 a month, and then we have snacks. Soap also was included in snacks, maybe not quite how it should be, but made $29 a month. Now, we haven't had snacks or the soap machine working for a long time. Even when they were, it was such a minimal amount, it was barely worth mentioning because we still had a 50% expense ratio, so that $29 a month actually was like $15 in profit, and that doesn't count the time messing with them, restocking them, going to the store every 4 months when you ran out of snacks, and realizing all your chips had expired, so you had to throw those away. I don't know if any money was made on snacks at all. So there you have your monthly income we averaged out, and our monthly expenses were up here. So yay, we made $500 a month. Well, again, that assumes you paid cash for this property, and let's get out our calculator of $500 a month times 12 is $6,000, and divide that by $300,000. That's a 2% return on your money. A 2% return, not counting my time, not counting the maintenance or capital expenditures we made on the property, and assuming nothing ever goes wrong again. So, not exactly how you want your investment to work out. But, like I said, it got a little better. So, if we go to this is income now. So, this is just taking the past 2 months because things have improved. If you saw the chart, our income's up. This should be 12. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter there. But the laundromat is now making about $1,260 a month instead of $1,000. The car wash is making more when you look at what it's made the last 2 months. The vacuum is still awful. The snacks are non-existent. So now it's about $2,531 a month we're bringing in an income versus our $1,432 expenses. So yay, we're making $1,100 a month, which here, I'll bring this over so you guys can see that. 1,100 times 12 equals that. You divide that by 300,000. Hey, we're making 4.5% on our money had we paid cash. Now, the really cool thing about this business is I financed it and used private money, which means I'm losing money because my payment is way more than that on this property. So every month we are losing money, and have been since I've bought it. So a lot of people say, oh, it's an awful investment. You should have never bought it. You made a huge mistake. And I could definitely see your point there and could possibly agree with you. But we haven't even talked about the capital expenditures yet. So we need to talk about those before you fully make your decision. And these are probably low even, especially the repairs on machines. I have $5,500 in receipts from buying a couple of those washers and making repairs, paying some of the guys. But remember, I also brought in dryers that I bought in bulk, and I didn't put a monetary value on those. You could say they're worth a couple thousand each, so maybe you add a couple thousand to that. I brought in 3 more washers from that place, so you could say they're worth a few thousand too. So honestly, that's probably closer to $10,000 on the repairs and new machines we brought in, especially with the change machine, repairing the car wash. You know, That's probably low. Now I think about it, and then we remodeled. We had flooring, painting, HVAC, painted the outside, remodeled the apartment. We've done quite a bit of work there to put a new garage door on the shop, clean that out, do some work there. So overall, we've spent much more than $300,000, and we're losing money still, even with that. So why has this been okay with me based on the awful numbers we have? Why am I okay with that laundromat? Because that laundromat got me this laundromat. So, funny story, I said I tried to build a laundromat before, it didn't work. The machines are so expensive. It would have cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy new machines, hundreds of thousands of dollars to build out the space, hundreds of thousands of dollars of water, utilities, and everything to get it ready. And then it probably wouldn't have made that much money, kind of like the small laundromat that we just saw. Well, this is a much larger laundromat, still not as large as I would like it to be, that I got because of the other laundromat. So the other laundromat, I was looking for new machines, better machines. People knew I owned it. And someone said, hey, I know of a laundromat that they're closing down. They're going to liquidate all their machines. You should go over there and talk to the owner of the building. So I did. I went over there. I saw it. This is what it looks like after we fixed it up. And I said, can I just lease this from you? There was still quite a few machines there. And they said, sure, why not? So I ended up leasing this property. I didn't pay a dime for any of the machines. All the machines are mine. I got all these dryers. They were all there. About 20 washers, and we brought in a bunch of the other washers I was talking about before from the defunct laundromat, and have this laundromat. And to give you an idea of the differences between income of a small laundromat and a laundromat like this, after being open for 7 months or so at this laundromat, we bring in $7,000 to $8,000 a month in revenue from just the laundromat. And my lease on this is $2,600 plus expenses. Plus, we do have a cleaning lady, although we may have to change cleaning ladies. This business does much better. It pays for the other business, but I would not have gotten this business and all the machines and everything that came with it without having that other laundromat and talking about it and people seeing I have it. So this laundromat is probably worth, $100,000 or so or more. The other laundromat might be worth $30,000. It's hard to say. It's hard to say what it's worth. Laundromats are tricky to value. They're hard to start. A lot of people love them. So it's difficult to say what it's worth. But even though the other laundromat is not doing well, it's not making a ton of money, it still has the real estate. It has the business. It has an apartment, has a shop. It's got some value there. This, on the other hand, is just a business, right? I don't own the real estate. I do own the machines. I own the equipment. But its value is just in the business, just in the money it produces. But this one has been a ton of fun. It's so much fun seeing quarters and the machines doing well and people being there. And yes, we still have drama, as people know who subscribe and watch my channel, like homeless people parking cars, sleeping outside. We luckily haven't had too many issues inside, but the DMV next door saying people can't park here. There's lots of different issues. However, it's all been worth it. The other cool thing about this laundromat too is our trends are still going up. Our sales have been increasing, pretty much every month. So who knows where we'll level out, or maybe we'll just keep going up forever. Who knows? And it's been a really fun business to be in. The other laundromat taught me a lot about machines, about the cost of machines, about repair guys, about all kinds of different issues, and really was a pretty small cost of business to learn about all of that and get into this business. And it taught me a lot of things to look out for and know that, hey, when I saw an entire laundromat's inventory, although it was smaller than this one, for sale for $20,000, you jump on it, you go buy it, you truck it back to where you are. And it was definitely worthwhile. These machines, the big ones, can be $10,000, $15,000, some even $20,000 for one machine. It's crazy how expensive they are. And that doesn't include the installation, like I said, power, water, all of that stuff you need. So eventually we'll do some similar reports on this one that we just did on the small one about the expenses, what it makes, how it does. This one is in the positive, so that's very nice, and it's a fun one to be at. It's also a couple miles away from my office, where the other one is about 12 miles from my office, so farther away. So after looking at all this, everything that's going on, the different businesses, the idea to sell the small laundromat kind of creeped into my head again. And I talked about this before, decided not to. When it was doing awful, the sales were way down, the car wash was broken, nothing was working right, everybody hated it. Now it's better. And obviously you want to sell a business when it's doing good, not when it's doing bad. So we'll see. I'm thinking about things. I'm thinking about my time. I'm thinking about where it's best spent. And if I did not have YouTube, TikTok, Facebook revenue coming in from the small laundromat, it definitely would not be worth it at all. But at the same time, this laundromat and the additional quarters it has does way, way better on all those platforms and makes more money too. So it'll be interesting to see if people are curious. One really good TikTok video can make me $500. A 1 minute good TikTok video, but that doesn't happen all that often. And me just opening the change machine up and seeing how the weekend went can do that. So that's why you see a lot of laundromat videos. And on YouTube, they often bring me the most subscribers. So it's not just the income I'm making now, but also I'm attracting more people, getting more engagement, getting more followers, which helps me out in the future and helps you kind of build that business as well. If you watch my channel, I like doing videos, or I wouldn't put out 18,000 videos a week. So we'll see about all that. I did have someone complain. I've had multiple people complain too, saying, hey, you don't do real estate videos anymore. You just do laundromat videos. We want more real estate videos. Well, I counted, and that week I had put out 8 real estate videos and like 6 laundromat videos. So I do put out a lot of content, but I still do real estate. I still love real estate. Real estate still makes me the most money. But luckily I'm in a position in my career where it's not always about the most money, but the most fun, the most enjoyment as well. All right. So I think that's all I've got for this video. You can kind of see the expenses. You can see what the baby laundromat does. It's not good. It's not amazing. It's actually better than a lot of people think, though. A lot of people who I've talked to, like Brandon from Investment Joy, have told me they thought it would do even worse. Like, they're surprised it brings as much money in as it does, because they've seen real small laundromats like that before that make like $300 a month. So I guess that's one nice thing about it, but still doesn't mean it's a good investment. So we'll keep posting videos. For right now, I'm going to keep that little laundromat, but it's in the back of my mind of what to do with it, how to improve it. Oh, I did mention I would talk about, if you really wanted to make it successful, and people told me to do this in the beginning, but it brings in a lot of question marks with permits and if the town would even let you, more water. You would probably take out the apartment next door. You would add big machines, add more dryers, make it a large laundromat, and hopefully you attract enough business to make it worthwhile. The tricky part is it's in a town of 1,500 people. So would it attract enough business? Maybe, maybe not. So it's a catch-22, and there's a lot of question marks on if that would pay off, and it would take tens and tens of thousands of dollars, if not maybe more, to make that happen for a play you might not know will work. And that's why we have not done that, and why I probably won't do that. But we'll see. I've said I won't do things before and gone ahead and done them. It just depends on how I feel that day, I guess. All right, thanks for watching. Love the comments. Love to hear what you think. We'll have much more of this in real estate and everything else. And this laundromat actually looks different now than it did back then, too. We've made some changes here, too. Like this machine got moved to the front because it was bugging the DMV lady, who now I kind of wish we would have kept this machine here to keep bugging her, because she's complaining about us having 4 designated parking spots when they have like 40. Anyway. Thanks for watching. Be back soon.